Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Devils fans of all ages, welcome back to Devil's Den Hockey. Now, I know the video is a little bit later in the day, but we do what we have to do and we got to work around a work schedule. So, let's jump right into it. Devils lose 4-3 to the Buffalo Sabres, and I think we can all agree that it's games like this, games like today, against teams like the Sabres, which make losses like this completely unacceptable. You cannot afford to lose games to teams like the Buffalo Sabres, okay? They are a bottom tier team, and we know that we can play so much better than the way that we have been playing, and we know that we're just a way better team than the Buffalo freaking Sabres, the team that hasn't won a Stanley Cup at all, whereas we've won, 3 in the last 30 years. I'll take it. Won a cup every 10 years or so, but I digress. I think we can all agree the Devils have not been playing well at all since Christmas break. We can all agree with that, right? We're fans. We love the team. We hate the team. We do what we have to do, right? But we can all agree that the Devils have played like crap, like complete crap for the last just over a month or so. As they're coming back from Christmas break, the Devils have not put together a winning record since Christmas. And you know what? You've got a meaningful 2 months before the playoffs. And if the Devils aren't careful, they're going to slide not only out of relevancy, but they're going to slide out of a playoff spot. Now, I stand by what I have said in previous videos. I believe that the Devils are going to make the playoffs without a shadow of a doubt. It might be as a bottom card, it might be as a bottom tier wild card position, but we are going to make the playoffs. We have to make the playoffs. Because if this team, with how good it is and how good it can be, doesn't make the playoffs, then there is something deeply wrong within the Devils. Whether that's in the locker room, whether that's chemistry, whether that's leadership, whether that's, and to be clear, I'm not talking about Hischier. I'm talking about Sheldon Keefe. I know it's only his first year, but damn, ever since Christmas, we've been looking for a shakeup. There hasn't really been any. So let's jump into this game because there's definitely been some issues and some patterns that I've noticed, not only in this game, that's carried on for other games in the past. Let's get right into it. So we've made our notes in our handy-dandy little notebook. So we're just going to list off shit. So first of all, first period, complete shit show. Complete shit show. Buffalo scores 3 goals unanswered. We end the first period, and it's 3-0 Sabres, okay? The fact that the Sabres are not only able to have the lead at the end of the first period, but have a lead that is significant, that the Devils are going to spend the rest of the game trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they have put themselves in, is unacceptable, okay? It just is. The Devils, once again, in another period, have less than 10 shots. With the firepower, and I understand that Nico Hischier is not in the lineup right now. I get it. We all love Nico Hischier. We love what he brings to the team. But at the end of the day, it's one dude off your roster. You still have Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, Timo Meier, Dawson Mercer, Stefan Noesen. You have all of these guys that are capable of putting pucks on net, and they just don't. It just doesn't happen. The Devils, once again, in the first period, have less than 10 shots on net. And that's going to be a pattern throughout the game. Because there is not a single period that goes by where the Devils had more than 10 shots in a single period, despite the fact that they had 5 power play opportunities to put a puck in the net. That's 10 minutes out of a 60-minute game where they have the man advantage. And they can't get shots on net, or they can't bury one. And with the firepower that we have, that is completely unacceptable. Number 3, in this period alone, the Devils were given 2 power play opportunities. That's 4 minutes out of a 20-minute period. That's almost a quarter of the period on the man advantage. And they can't get shots on net. They can't bury it. There are some chances. There are some opportunities. I thought that Timo Meier had a couple of really good opportunities, not only in the first, but also in the third period. He can't bury it. We need to see, for the amount of money that we're paying Timo Meier, right? And I'm not going to get into contract talks and what I think of his contract or whatever it is, but like, for the amount of money that the Devils are paying him, I want to see more out of him. This is a power forward that has the capability of scoring 40 a season. I don't even think he has 20, and we're over halfway through the season. I need to see Timo Meier pick up this scoring pace, and I know that people are going to say, well, we didn't buy him for his goal scoring ability. Bullshit. Timo Meier was coming off a 40-goal scoring season when the Devils went over and picked him up. Timo Meier was on fire, and yet this guy hasn't even cracked 20 goals yet. This is a concern, okay? Last one, Jake Allen stood on his head. I don't know what to tell you guys. Jake Allen has been outstanding covering for Blackwood. Wow, what am I living in, 2021? Like, holy crud. Allen has played remarkably well for someone covering for Markstrom that's having to play like every single game until Markstrom gets back. He's played so well. There is no doubt in my mind that Jake Allen, these games should be 5, 6, 7, 7-3, 8-3, 6-3 finals if it's not for Jake Allen. In the first period alone, he had to make like 2 or 3 outstanding saves, and he keeps the Devils in it despite being 3-0 and down 3-0 in the end of the first period. I don't know what to tell you guys. Moving on to the second period, and there's a little bit of a glimmer of light that occurs in the second period because Paul Cotter scores his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Dowling and assisted by Hamilton for his 27th assist of the year. So the game is now 3-1. So it's a 2-goal game, and you've still got almost 2 whole periods to play. There is hope in the Devils. And again, you're playing against the Buffalo Sabres. And don't get me wrong, Luokkanen, whatever his name is, on the Buffalo Sabres goaltender, he's not a bad goalie, but we've got the firepower to put a couple behind him. All right? So Devils go up 3-1. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Sabres respond almost immediately, and Buffalo scores to now make it 4-1. And immediately you feel the hope from the Cotter goal to make it 3-1 immediately evaporate, and it's now 4-1 Sabres. Not only that, the Devils end up taking 2 penalties on top of their 4-1 deficit. Thank God they're able to kill both. But again, the Devils, instead of coming back, playing well, and maybe scoring a second goal at the end of the second or something like that, they take more penalties, and it ends up hurting them. Because how are you supposed to scrape back into a game if you're down for 4 minutes out of a 20-minute period while you're still down? Remember, beginning of the second period, they're down 3 goals. They get one back. Buffalo scores, and now they take 2 penalties. What are we doing right now? Not only that, the Devils get a power play opportunity in the second period. They get a power play. They do nothing with it. And again, in the second period, including the power play, they have less than 10 shots. You can't have less than 10 shots a period against a team like Buffalo, who, quite frankly, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying it, is not a good team. They're not a good team. You should be able to get 12 to 15 shots in a period. I'm sorry. The fact that every single game where we're playing teams like Buffalo, Anaheim, San Jose, Chicago, the fact that we don't have 35 to 40 shots on net a game is telling that something is off with the offense. So, we go into the third period. It's 4-1 Buffalo. New Jersey has had 3 power play opportunities. They can't get anything going. Paul Cotter tries to spark it, and he sparks it again in the third period. Paul Cotter gets his 12th of the year, assisted by Pesce. That's his 9th assist of the year. So the Devils go up. It's now 4-2, and the third period is still going. But wait, hold on. What's that I hear? Is that the sound of hope in the midst of the abyss of darkness called the Devils' last month of hockey? But Jack Hughes scores on a short-handed goal. He gets his 21st of the season, assisted by Jesper Bratt for his 43rd assist of the year. So Jesper Bratt, obviously over 50 points at this point. Will he get 70? We'll see what happens here. But the Devils are now down 4-3. It is a one-goal game. Now, as I've already said, we know that they end up losing this game 4-3. But you're down one goal, and what happens? Stefan Noesen takes a headshot on the Buffalo Sabres. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to say it. There's no defending this head. There's none. There's no defending it. You can say it wasn't intentional. I agree. But at the end of the day, if you go back and you watch the clip, Thompson has the puck. Noesen literally can take all the time he wants to avoid this check. He doesn't. He lowers his shoulder. He gets ready for it. And he moves into Thompson's head. It is an obvious headshot. Anyone worth their salt looking at this has to agree that this is at least a one-game suspension, okay? You cannot have a guy with a puck, okay, skating forward when you have all of the time in the world to either abort the hit or aim better, and instead the primary point of contact is the head. I don't care if it's not with the elbow or not. He takes his head off. It is an indefensible hit, and we should not pretend like it is a defensible hit. You can say, well, there was remorse afterward. Well, I don't think he intended to hurt him. I mean, I'm sorry, in this case, I don't really give a shit, okay? You cannot take a guy's head off in the NHL, and if we want to condemn other teams, other dirtier teams which have done this to us, then we have to come out and go, no, our guy deserves a suspension for that. It can even be like for 1 or 2 games, but like there needs to be something here. And Noesen gets tossed for a game misconduct. He gets 10 minutes for it, and he gets tossed out of the game. They call it an illegal check to the head, and the refs are correct here, guys. They just are, right? You cannot make the primary point of contact the other guy's head when making a check. I don't care that you're down. And that hit sucks the life out of the building. It sucks the life out of the team, okay? You're down 1 goal and Noesen pulls this shit. It's unacceptable. It cannot happen. So, it's 4-3. Noesen gets tossed out of the game. We go on, and in that period alone, the Devils take 17 minutes worth of penalties, okay? You cannot be in a game where you are behind by a goal or 2, and you're taking 17 minutes worth of penalties in a 20-minute period. What are we actually doing right now? The discipline has to be better from the Devils, okay? Now, they do kill off all of the penalties. No goals today scored by the Sabres was on goals from, power plays or anything like that. But just because they didn't score doesn't mean it's good to give your opponent the ability to have a man advantage constantly against you. And the Devils in the third period, by the way, do get 2 power plays of their own. Do they do anything with it? No. Do they get some good chances? I guess. But really, you're given 5 power plays. That is 10 minutes in a 60-minute game. That is almost 20% of your game. That is 15 to 20% of your game where you have the man advantage. And again, with the firepower the Devils do, there's no excuse for you not to have gotten at least 1 power play goal, right? Because if you think about it, of the 5 power plays that New Jersey had, they score 1, that's 20% of your power play that's actually working. And that 1 goal is the difference between not getting a point and going to overtime. And right now, the Devils can't afford to be dropping points or dropping games to teams like Buffalo, okay? The least you can do is get the point in overtime, but you don't. And it is concerning that the Devils' power play has not been good for almost a month. There's been some games where they've been okay or all right or decently good, but the pattern overall has not been good. Now, thank God our penalty kill is 5th in the NHL for how good it's been, but, like, so what if you can't score in the power play? So what if you can't score 5-on-5? So what if you go down 3-0 in the first period? Like, it can't continue. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. On that note, guys, I don't have anything else to say. I've gone through all my notes for the game. I will talk to you guys in the next Devil's Den video, which next time I play a game and I can actually do one right after the game, we'll do that. But on that note, guys, I will talk to you in the next one. Adios.